It is impossible for light not to get noticed, especially in the dark. There is something profoundly spiritual about light. Light does not struggle to be seen. Light does not argue for attention. Light does not force recognition. Light simply is, and by its very nature, it becomes visible wherever darkness exists. This simple truth mirrors one of the deepest spiritual realities of human existence. When inner awakening begins to dawn within a person, it becomes impossible for that transformation to remain hidden. Spiritual light, the quiet radiance of awareness, compassion, presence, and truth, naturally reveals itself in thought, word, and action. Darkness may appear overwhelming, but it has no substance of its own. It is not a force in opposition to light, rather it is merely the absence of illumination. In the same way, ignorance, fear, confusion, hatred, and despair are not permanent structures of reality. They are conditions that arise when consciousness has not yet awakened to its own luminous nature, and the moment even the smallest spark of awareness is introduced, the darkness begins to recede. Spiritual traditions across time have spoken of an inner light, a silent intelligence that exists beyond personality, beyond conditioning, beyond the restless stream of thoughts that often define our identity. This light is not something we acquire, it is something we uncover. It is the essence of being itself. It is the clarity that arises when the mind becomes still. It is the love that emerges when ego loosens its grip. It is the wisdom that speaks when fear subsides. The moment you become aware of your thoughts without being controlled by them, the moment you choose compassion over judgment, the moment you act from integrity rather than impulse, a light begins to shine. And what is remarkable is this: the world notices, not because you announce it, but because presence has a frequency. People feel it in your calmness when chaos surrounds you. They see it in your patience when anger would be easier. They recognize it in your hope when despair seems justified. In a dark room, even a candle changes everything. Often we believe that spiritual illumination requires perfect conditions, peaceful environments, supportive communities, harmonious circumstances, but light is most meaningful precisely because darkness exists. A star cannot be seen at noon. Similarly, the trials of life, grief, uncertainty, disappointment, fear serve as the very background against which spiritual clarity becomes visible. These moments challenge the illusions we have constructed around control, permanence, and identity. They invite us to look deeper than appearances, to question what we truly are beneath roles and expectations. Many awakenings begin not in comfort, but in crisis. When familiar certainties collapse, when external validations fade, when plans unravel, something within us asks what remains. And in that questioning, a subtle shift occurs. Attention turns inward. Silence becomes meaningful. Presence becomes refuge. This is where light begins its work. One of the paradoxes of spiritual life is that the more one seeks recognition for goodness, the less authentic it becomes. True light does not need to perform. A person deeply rooted in awareness does not have to convince others of their peace. Their presence communicates it effortlessly. They do not need to speak endlessly about love. Their actions embody it. They do not need to declare wisdom. Their humility reveals it. This kind of light is not dramatic. It is quiet. It listens more than it speaks. It forgives more than it condemns. It understands more than it reacts. And in environments where negativity, fear, or division prevail, such qualities stand out naturally. Just as the smallest lamp becomes significant in a pitch-black night, the simplest act of kindness becomes transformative in a world conditioned by indifference. To awaken spiritually is not merely to experience peace for oneself, it is to become a gentle source of guidance for others, whether consciously or not. Light influences. Your calmness can soften someone's anxiety. Your forgiveness can interrupt cycles of resentment. Your courage can inspire hope in someone who has forgotten their own strength. This does not mean becoming a savior or assuming responsibility for others' paths. Rather, it means recognizing that your state of being contributes to the collective atmosphere in which all life unfolds. Every thought of compassion adds brightness. Every choice rooted in truth reduces confusion. Every moment of mindful presence brings clarity where there was once fragmentation. The world is shaped not only by grand gestures but by subtle shifts in consciousness. It is important to understand that illumination is not always welcomed. Just as bright sunlight can strain eyes accustomed to darkness, authenticity can challenge systems built upon illusion. When someone begins to live with integrity, others may feel confronted by their own compromises. When someone embodies peace, those accustomed to conflict may misinterpret it as weakness. But resistance does not diminish light. It confirms its presence. A lighthouse does not extinguish its beam because storms rage. A flame does not apologize for illuminating shadows. Spiritual growth often involves standing gently yet firmly in truth, even when it is misunderstood. It requires trust that authenticity, though sometimes uncomfortable, ultimately nurtures deeper harmony. Inner light is both innate and nurturable. Practices such as meditation, reflection, gratitude, ethical living, and compassionate service strengthen our capacity to remain present amidst distraction. They refine perception, allowing us to see beyond surface appearances into the interconnectedness of all existence. Over time, these practices align thought, feeling, and action. They reduce the fragmentation that fuels confusion and fear. They foster coherence, a state in which inner values and outer behavior resonate harmoniously. And when coherence deepens, light intensifies, not as spectacle but as serenity. Spiritual illumination is not confined to sacred spaces or special rituals. It expresses itself in ordinary interactions, in how you greet a stranger, in how you respond to criticism, in how you navigate disappointment, in how you celebrate others' successes. Each moment presents an opportunity to embody awareness rather than reactivity, compassion rather than judgment. Gradually, life becomes less about achieving perfection and more about expressing authenticity. Success is measured not by external accolades, but by inner alignment. A life lived in this way becomes quietly radiant. When many individuals nurture inner light, collective consciousness shifts, communities become more empathetic, conversations become more constructive, systems evolve toward justice and sustainability. Transformation need not begin with sweeping reforms. It often begins with a single person choosing presence over distraction, kindness over indifference, truth over convenience. Light spreads, and because it is impossible for light not to get noticed, especially in times of uncertainty, every sincere effort toward awakening contributes to a broader movement toward harmony. There may be moments when your efforts to live mindfully feel small or insignificant. When the world's complexities seem too vast, its challenges too entrenched. Remember, darkness does not measure the size of the light that dispels it. Even the faintest glow alters perception. Even the briefest moment of awareness interrupts unconsciousness. Even the simplest act of love reshapes experience. So nurture your inner clarity. Cultivate your compassion. Honor your truth. For wherever genuine light arises, it cannot remain hidden. And in illuminating your own path, you quietly help illuminate the world.